Well, hello, I'm Ryan Trujillo, and this is the first of what will hopefully be many music lesson videos. So today we're going to start with the notes. Now, I think the notes make the most sense if we start from a piano, so I'm going to be using this image to kind of get us started. Now, if you know your alphabet, you can find your notes. We're going to go from A to G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So that gives us all of our white keys. Now, the black keys in between have their own names. We call them either sharps or flats, depending on the situation. But for now, we'll just use sharps. I think it's just easiest if we just stick to one for now. So we have C. Just above that, we have C sharp. D. Just above that, we have D sharp. Now again, this could be D flat and then E flat, but for now, we'll just call them sharps. So this is very late night editing, Ryan. What up? So those are called enharmonic equivalents, notes that sound the same but are spelled differently. Like C sharp and D flat are examples of enharmonic equivalents. I'm gonna have a PDF in the description with that information and more. You should check it out, but back to the lesson. Now, so on and so forth, you find F sharp, G sharp, and A sharp also. Now, if you're on one note and you go to the same note but higher, we call that an octave, okay? So this C is one octave below this C. This C is one octave above this C. Now, before we go to the bass guitar, just one little thing. If we go from C to C sharp, we call that a half step, okay? And two half steps makes a whole step. So C to D would be considered a whole step. Now, if we're trying to transfer this over to the bass guitar, unfortunately, it doesn't make the same quick visual sense, I think, that the piano does. We don't have little black keys indicating what's a sharp or what's a flat, whatever. So we kind of have to come up with our own system to memorize these things. But I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you all the tricks so that you can find the notes that you need. We'll start with the open strings, of course. E, A, D, and G. Okay? Now, if we were to go on a low E string, for example, I'll just do up to the 5th fret for now. We have E, a half step above that. We would have F. Now, a half step above F, you get F sharp, or you can go up to G with a whole step. Okay? G, half step above that, we have G sharp, or A flat. And then a half step above that, we have A. A is the same as our open A string. So, if we go to our A string, we can find the notes on there. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, and then D. D is the same as our open D string. D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. G is the same as our open G string. G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and C. Now this can kind of seem just totally overwhelming at first. Like it's just a bunch of letters to remember and whatever. But there's a series of tricks that you can kind of use to make these things easier as you learn to recall this information faster. First off, like what we saw before, the 5th fret's the same as the open strings. So if you memorize your open strings, you know all your 5th frets too. So we've got our A. The 5th fret of the string below it is the same note as the open string above. So those are both A's. These are both D's. These are both G's. And so with 5-string basses, sometimes they call it tenor tuning, and they tune it with a high C. So this 5th fret up top is a C. It'd be the same as the high C string. Okay, kind of like how the 5th fret of the low B string would be the same as the open E. Another great trick you can use is the 7th fret, which we didn't really talk about, is the same as the open string below it, but an octave higher. Now the last trick that I kind of use to help fill out the fingerboard is knowing my octaves. So the octave, which we talked about on the piano, on the bass is always located 2 frets higher and 2 strings higher. So this 3rd fret on the low E string, it's G. But if I go over 2 frets higher, 2 strings higher, I also get a G an octave higher. So let's say you're trying to figure out the 4th fret on your D string, and it's just kind of a spot that you don't know very well yet. You can use, I do know my E string, and I can go a half step of that, gives me F, and I can get to F sharp. That's an F sharp. That's an F sharp. Late night editing, Ryan here again. I kind of failed to mention a couple important things. The 12th fret is the same as the open strings, so it's kind of like the whole neck repeats at the 12th fret. So you really only have to learn the first 12 frets. And also, if you add 5 to any fret and go down a string, you get the same note. So 2nd fret on the G string, A, is the same as 7th fret on the D string below it. But yeah, back to the video. From there, you can kind of use half steps and work your way around if you remember which notes have sharps and flats. Now, when I was learning, my teacher advised me to actually draw up little fingerboards on scratch paper so that I could fill out the notes myself and kind of as the exercise and just throw them out and do it again. I would just do it every day, like when I was in class. Maybe it's in part why my grades dipped off like they did when I was in high school, but shoot, I know my notes now. But yeah, as a professional, I'm not necessarily always thinking about every single note I'm on every moment. I might be using one note as a reference point to do a bunch of things, thinking it in relation to that original note, whether it be the root or third or fifth, all things we'll talk about later. But like anything, take it patiently. It's a marathon, not a race, and enjoy the ride. You know, the goal is to play music that sounds good. Don't get in your head about what you know or don't know. But with that, I'm going to finish this up. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to drop them in the comments section. Again, any subscriptions are super, super appreciated. This is a process. I'm going to figure this out as I go. And yeah, thanks for coming along with this journey. And if there's any suggestions, please let me know what you want to know. But thanks for watching. See you in the next one.